Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today let's talk about the Eagle Act of 2023. This is not the first time we had talked about this bill this year or previous years, but there is yet another bill in the Senate which talks the same language and it has a little bit more support. So we'll talk about what's in the bill, what are the clauses in the bill, what is the support for this bill in House and the Senate, what is the process for it to pass in the Senate, and what are its prospects. And what are the things that you can do to increase the chances of this bill getting passed, and my final thoughts on it. So watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now check out the links in the description because those are affiliate links, and next week being Black Friday, there will be some discounts and that will also help the channel. And while you are down there, do hit the like button. That will get you into the giveaway and also help the video propagate. Now as we get ready for the Thanksgiving, Congress has put out yet another puppy for us to chase around. And this time it comes from Senate by the name of S3291 Eagle Act of 2023. Now if you remember, in the last couple of years during the pandemic, there was a bill called S386, Senate 386. That bill also had to do with the per country cap removal. Now for those of you who don't know, US immigration has a per country cap of 7% in the immigration. In other words, they only approve 7% of the total volume of the visas available for a particular country. So every country only gets maximum of 7% of the total visas available in that particular category. Now this is beneficial for a lot of countries with lesser population because they get the bigger piece of the pie as compared to their population, but it is really disadvantageous for the people living in the big countries such as India and China, whose economies are enormous and population is beyond 1 billion. In other words, it discriminates based on the country of origin, and that puts a tremendous amount of pressure from countries such as India and China due to built up a backlog for decades. So now if you look at the employment-based immigration, India or Indian origin people have decades of long wait in EB2 and EB3 category. And now the EB1 also has retrogress. This is all because of the 7% per country cap. Now this S386 bill 3 years back was passed in the Senate. Its version of House also passed in the House, but it did not see the light of day on the President's desk for whatever reason. Now the thing is, the bill has to be passed before the government flips or before the Congress flips. So if any bill is introduced in the election year, if it does not make it to the final mark, it gets cancelled. Essentially it gets lost. And then the next year, if anybody has to pick up that same bill and come to the floor, it needs to get its own new number and it has to be as if like it's a brand new bill. As a ritual, as a clockwork, this bill keeps coming to the House and the Senate every year for passing. This year it came to the House back in April, I think, or March. It was called HR 1535, Eliminating Backlog Act of 2023. This was in the House of Representatives. It was brought forward by Mr. Buchan and Mr. Krishnamurthy. This bill was brought to the House and it was referred to the Judiciary Committee, but it did not move any further. Now this week, Senator Kevin Cramer, who is Republican from North Dakota, has brought this bill forward to the Senate Judiciary Committee. So it's now being reviewed at the Senate Judiciary Committee. Some committee in the Senate has to review before it moves any further. This bill was brought up on November 13th of 2023. Now I'll talk through the process, what happens next, but before that I would like to jump into the details of this bill. While reading through this bill, I thought that I was reading the same bill over and over since the last couple of years because I didn't see much change in it, but maybe there are minor changes that are introduced, but I was not able to spot any major differences on this one and the previous Senate bills that were passed for per country cap removal. But let's look at it. Now here is the bill on congress.gov. It says S3291 Eagle Act of 2023. Now this was introduced by, as I said, Senator Kevin Cramer on 13th of November. Now if you look at the tracker here, it was just introduced, it is being reviewed by the Judiciary Committee, it will be passed to the Senate, it has to be passed by House, to the President, and then become a law. Now there are n number of steps in between, those are very important. But first let's look at what does this bill say. In short title, this act may be called as Equal Access to Green Cards for Legal Employment of 2023 or Eagle Act of 2023. Now some of the clauses are per country levels for family sponsored immigrants. Subject to paragraph, total number of immigrant visas made available of native and any single foreign state or dependent area under any fiscal year may not exceed 15%. So that is one thing that they are doing. Instead of putting a 7% cap, they are raising the cap for family sponsored green cards to 15% per country. Now this was also in the previous bills, by the way. It also says that there will be special rules for the countries at ceiling. If the total number of immigrant visas made available under this section to natives of any single foreign state dependent area will exceed the numerical limits of specified subsection of any fiscal year, immigrants' visas shall be allotted to such natives under the section to the extent practical or otherwise consented within this section. The proportion of the visas made available under each of this paragraph through is equal to the ratio of the total visas. So they are saying after the cap is reached, the remaining visas will be given in proportion. But we are still talking about the family sponsored visas here. Now there are a lot of clauses for family based section, but let's come to what is impacted to the employment based section. Now it also talks about section 4 H1B employer petition requirements, wage determination information, new application information. It talks about elimination of B1 in lieu of H1 by adding the following: ending media abuse of H1B, investigation and disposition of complaints against H1B employers. There is an elaborate section on misuse of H1B visa, how they can tackle that, labor conditions applications. They are also outlining the penalties for violation of H1B visa. Now here is the section 7 says adjustment of status for employment based immigrants. Now it says notwithstanding subsection including aliens, spouse and children, if eligible to receive a visa under the section, may apply an application for adjustment of status if the alien is present in the United States to a lawful admission as a non-immigrant, not less than 2 years have elapsed since the immigrant visa petition is filed, was approved. This is one particular thing that is very important. If you have an approved EB petition, employment based visa application petition, which is approved for more than 2 years, you will be eligible to apply for adjustment of status. That is a very important clause in this bill. Another thing is protection for children. A child of a principal applicant alien who files an application for adjustment of status under subsection shall continue to qualify as child for the purposes of application, regardless of child's age, whether an disease at the time an immigrant visa becomes available. So they are putting an end to this aging out situation in this bill, which is incredible. This is really important. Both of these points, allowing people to apply for 485 after 2 years of approved I-140, and then also keeping the children on the petition even if they age out, and even if the primary applicant is deceased before the visa number is reached. So children's petition will continue to wait for their visa number until they get the green card, which is incredible. This is going to help a lot of people. So for all of those people, pray that this bill passes. Now travel and employment authorization. They are also making positive changes to advance payroll. Applicants for adjustment of status under this subsection shall be eligible for advance payroll under the same terms and conditions as applicants for adjustment of status. Employment authorization, principal alien. Now there are a lot of other things that are mentioned for employment based authorization, but these are not new. They are reiterating a lot of clauses in here. There is a proposal for fee change as well. So now here you can also see what committees are going to look at this bill, which is Senate Judiciary Committee. It's already referred to them. So I know for sure that some of you are interested in stock trading, day trading, buying cryptocurrencies. I want to present you Webull. Webull is a trading platform. It allows you to buy stock, it allows you to buy options, do options trading, and also it allows you to buy cryptocurrency. Webull 9 was released with a brand new home and market page, asset page, and economic calendar. Also, Webull Cash Management was launched with 5.8% API with no fees attached and no minimum balance and unlimited withdrawals. This is amazing. New Webull USA users can still enjoy 5.8% APY and get up to 12 free stocks when making an initial deposit of each is valued between $3 and $3,000. Feel free to take advantage of this. Join through my link and you will get those free stocks. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the small interruption. There was some noise coming out of my neighbor's backyard because they were cleaning some leaves. So I had to let them finish their work, and here we start again. So as I was saying, the bill text is almost similar to the previous version of Senate bill that we had last year and the year before. Now the important question is, how much support does this bill have? Now the actual bill only says that it has 2 more senators that are supporting this, but in reality there are many more. This is a bipartisan bill. Both Democrats and Republicans are in the wing to support this bill. But are there enough is the question. Now the current status of this bill is it is under review by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now this is the committee, one of the committees that reviews this bill before it goes any further. So now the review takes a couple of weeks, and then the Senate Majority Leader decides if it wants to bring it to the floor. There are other appropriations committee that also take a look at this bill, because sometimes some senators slide in some non-judiciary clauses into the judiciary bills. So it has to be vetted. Now while these committees are reviewing the bills, the senators who introduced the bill, they kind of try to gather some support around this bill by talking to the other senators from both the parties. So that is currently happening with this bill. Hopefully that is going well. Once the committee reviews are completed, then this gets a calendar date. The date on which this bill will be brought to attention at the Senate floor. Now sometimes the Senate Majority Leader may choose to bring this bill for an unanimous consent. But if that fails, then this goes into a debate. Now debate cycles can take days or weeks or even months. Now in the past, the bills that are harder to pass have stuck in these debate cycles because some of the senators just want to drag their feet and not approve this bill. So they just drag on this bill for weeks. Now there is a process called filibuster to break this cycle of debates. Now what filibuster means is there is a voting that is called, and if 2/3 of majority of the senators pass this bill, which is about 60 senators, if 60 senators vote yes for this bill, then this bill passes and no more debates are done. Now the usual voting is to get just simple majority, which is 51 votes. But if there are enough opponents to the bill, they drag this through the debates. And then there is a filibuster which needs 61 votes to pass. Now once this bill is passed in the Senate, then this also has to pass in the House. Now Senate and House may have different versions of the bill. Now they try to make this bill of the same copy, of the same wordings, but that doesn't always happen. And especially when the Senate and the House are held by different parties. But in this case, since this bill is sponsored by a Republican in the Senate, he will make sure that the same version goes to the House because House has a Republican majority. And then the House will try to pass this bill again. Now it has to be very close or identical for it to be passed in House as well. Once this passes in Senate and the House, then it can go to the President's desk for signing before it becomes a law. So that is kind of a process. And when the versions of Senate and the House are different, then it can become a ping pong where Senate will approve one version of the bill, House may approve another version of the bill, but then they have to make some negotiations. Then the bill has to be remodified and sent back to the Senate. The other version has to be sent back to the House to be voted again, and then it passes. So it has long ways to go. In the past, what we have seen is this bill has come up in the election year. Fortunately, this is not an election year. Even if it doesn't pass before the end of the year, it can continue to be brought to the floor in the next year until the government flips, maybe by the end of next year. Now, what action can you take? Now, some people ask me, what is your prediction on this bill to pass? I have very low expectations on this bill. I have been seeing this bill come in and go, even pass through House or Senate or both in some instances, and never make it to the President's desk in time. So this has happened several times. So by pure logic, I don't think it has enough support, and because of the divided Congress, it has low chance to pass. But if you look at it from another perspective, if you look at it from a probability perspective, this bill has not passed so many times that the probability of it passing this year has increased. So that is a positive spin that I would like to put in. Now what can you do about it? You can write letters to congressman and senator. Now right at the moment this bill is in the Senate, so contact your local senator, talk to them about your story, send letters to them. Now you are on a visa, so senators and congressmen maybe don't have much interest in hearing your story because you are not much of a benefit to them in terms of voting, but you can be an indirect benefit to them in terms of economy, in terms of economic progress to their constituency. So you need to play the humanitarian or hardship card or economic card. How staying in the United States, paying your bills and paying your taxes will help improve the economy of that constituency, and how much hardship you are going through this long wait for your green card. So that is what is going to fly with the senators and congressmen. That is my personal opinion. Because they are not going to get your vote, this is one way to get their ear. Now finally, people also ask me who are on long wait period for their green card or their priority date to become current, can they move to Canada? They have got their open work permit. Is it a good time to move to Canada? Or should they wait for some of these bills to pass? Now every couple of months some versions of these immigration bills come, but they don't go anywhere. So it is very hard for me to say that something new is going to pass. So it is really your decision. It is really your situation whether or not you should consider moving to Canada or stay put here in the United States and look for other options to get your green card, such as EB1, application in EB1 or EB5. Now if you want to talk to me about your situation regarding qualification for EB1A or EB1C or even EB5, do contact me on my Calendly, and that way you can set up some time with me and I can give you my perspective. Or you can also sign me up on Patreon where I do personal chats with people, giving them my opinion on their situation. So that's all really I wanted to say in this video. If you like the content of this video, do hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.